what it is. Okay, guys. Good evening, everyone. Didn't do the intro. I mucked it up. Sorry about that. So we do it as an outro. Tonight we have Luke James, new guest, Arsenal fan, here to chat all about the Arsenal. Be nice to get Luke's opinion as a new person, and the legend that is Kenny Ken and Kyle Walsh Gunner. Guys, how are we doing? Kyle, how are you, mate? How are you feeling?
Good, Jason. Good, especially after beating Manchester United there on Sunday. What a game of football, Jason. Great game for the Premier League. It just goes to show how strong the Premier League is. And it was great to get a win over them and push us forward and give us a confidence boost to continue on down with the Premier League. I thought it was brilliant game of football.
Yeah, it was something else, man. Luke, how are you, my friend? New guest on the channel. Looking forward to new opinions. We always do. And how are you doing, my man?
Yeah, fine, thanks, Jez. I just think it was a good game the weekend, and it wasn't the best game we played, but I think whenever we're at home, we're always pretty hard to beat, to be honest.
Yeah, good point, man. Good point. Kenny, you were at the game. It must have been an amazing time. The good old days of Arsenal, Man U, the battles and the pizza throwing. There wasn't any pizza throwing on Sunday, sorry. But yeah, you experienced that atmosphere, man. And tell me what you think.
I thought it was one of the best. I think the atmospheres this season has been, exemplary. I think, like in Ashburn Army have added a lot to the atmosphere at the football ground. They even get an escort now. But I think what it is that I think since the pre-season, since we beat Chelsea 4-0 on that game 6-0 against Sevilla, I think everyone's been looking forward to it because I think perhaps they could sense, this team was ready for business. Like I said, or shall we say, open for business. So the atmosphere at the ground has been really, really, really good. Away fans are the best in the country, but I think we're replicating some of that away atmosphere to the home end, to home games. Must say, I agree with everyone who watched the game. I thought the game was, really, really, really good. Good effort for the Premier League, and most importantly, it was a proper game of football between Man United and Arsenal. I think certain Man United fans are quite harsh on their team, and in terms of like the individual errors that they made towards their goals, but we put under so much pressure. I think it's for Man United, it's a work in progress, isn't it? Because normally when Man United are at their best, and I mean at their best, when they normally would weather that storm, but come with a bit more insurance than they normally did. But they had some good chances. Rashford, I thought, played really well. I thought Martinez played well, but Saka, social mention us to go at Saka, obviously, because I thought he was fantastic. He was, and Shevchenko as well. And we've very much maligned them, Eddie and Nketiah. We criticised the decision to bring him back into the fold. We didn't think it was being a good idea, but you know what? It's all about chances, and he's taking his chances. So good luck to the lads. But so much football to go. 19 games left. Anything can happen. And next game is Everton. They've set their manager. They're going through so much upheaval. You know what's going to happen in 2 weeks. Next week, I don't need to tell you, but they're going to be a different Everton from the rubbish we've seen before.
Absolutely.
Jason, I'd just like to say about the game on Sunday. Over here, I tried to get, there's two mates of mine that went to the game, and I tried to go with them. So we were hunting for a ticket. Jason, do you know how much money I was asked for a match ticket for Sunday? £400 sterling.
Yeah, well, I can believe that.
£400 sterling.
Yeah, I can believe it. I can believe it, man. I just quickly answer Pete. I'm on a train now, Jez. Lots of people would love to come on in the future. Pete, you're welcome. You are welcome to come on and put your say across. We're all very fair people here. We all have very different opinions that not always everybody agrees with. But yeah, you can come on, have your say, and fair play. I respect what you say, and you respect what we say, and we act like adults. That's what we're about. You got signal on a train, yeah, fair play, but I get what he's saying, Arsenal, and he doesn't want to chat with people around him. I respect that view. That's fair play. So very quickly, rounding up that Man United game, I thought the spirit of the team was outstanding. 1-0 up, 1-1. It was very mirror. I tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me very much of the 79 Cup final, when it's all done in the dying minutes of the game. Alan Sunderland steps up, scores the winner. It also reminds me of the classic at Highbury, the 3-2 winning game there. Yeah, I mean, it was a typical, wasn't it? It was a typical Arsenal Man United game, and you've got to love that. You've got to love that. Now, I just want to, at this point in time, we've signed a couple of guys. Trossard. I've seen him play live twice, and I think he's a decent player. I think he's a decent player. So I'm happy with him. When he came on, to me, from watching it on the TV, I thought, this guy looks decent. I'm going to come to Kenny first, because you were actually at the game, so you saw everything that's going on around, and that's where you get the true perspective of what a player can do. Kenny, what's your view, man?
Oh, he's thing is that we've got the pattern scars from what Trossard did to us last season when they beat us 2-1, where, in hindsight, at the time we probably felt it, and at the time it probably games like that cost us our passage into the Champions League. But he was fantastic. That second goal we scored, let's not forget about that. And also, most importantly, is the whole performance. He is, as Aaron Ramsdale said, Trossard hasn't been signed to just sit on the bench. He's come to take a player's position. So he's given a rallying cry to players who are in possession of the shirt at the moment, to start the game, because he is an orthodox left-sided player, and he, not only can he provide us with service, Saka style, he can also chip in with a goal as well. He isn't an off-the-cuff player, so from what he did when he came on, he certainly, gave Man United something to think about, and he was able to give Wan-Bissaka problems. He didn't try to go down Wan-Bissaka's side, but when he cut in, he gave Wan-Bissaka another defensive, proposition to his extent right. He's not, Trossard isn't going to come on my strong right side where I can make those scooping tackles and those, or clearances with my right foot because he's right footed. He got Wan-Bissaka on his left foot, where it's a bit different now because Wan-Bissaka is very strong on his right-hand side. So in that respect, you could see his football intelligence when he came on the field, and he had quite a good little link-up with Zinchenko. So again, that's a great avenue to have. And we got a game against Man City. That's a game we can easily blood it in. But I said it on the show, and I'm not sure Luke and Cole was going to agree with me. But one thing you've got to realise is that Arteta keeps on trying to sign players from Martinelli's position. Let's be honest, Martinelli's an off-cuff player, effective, but he isn't a left wing. He isn't left forward. I think there's a position just behind the front too. If not, maybe off someone's shoulder. Like a kind of a Aubameyang position. But if you were just tossing a coin, who would you play? And who do you think will fit the system? One of them's going to have to be a casualty, and you have to go your head this time when you're running, and you have to pick on form. And at the moment, Martinelli's off form. This guy can actually play that position.
Yeah,
and so that is a good selection headache. But if you think Tierney's going to be has been treated harshly by him in terms of like being demoted for Zinchenko. Well, I think there's going to be a demotion for Martinelli in the near future.
I totally agree with you, mate. I absolutely 100% agree with that. I really do. Gracie-Mae is here. At Pete Hayward. Good. Let's set it up when you are free. Pete, let me just say this one thing. You don't want to have an argument with Gracie-Mae. She's a little vixen. And if you want to have a debate with Gracie, then I would suggest you really chill it. Seriously. Come to you, Luke. Trossard, was he a player, mate, that you were happy to see come to Arsenal?
Well, I haven't really seen too much of him, but he does look good player, to be honest. I think Martinelli is looking a bit weary at the moment, tired, but so perhaps he could fill in there for a couple of games. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's his proper position, but yeah.
Somebody's got a speaker on somewhere. Somebody's got a background speaker on.
Now what I'll do is I'll mute myself when something. Let me see if it's me. So I'm going to mute.
Not sure. No, it's not you, Luke. Have you got a speaker on? Have you got a speaker on your laptop?
No, I think it's just delaying, isn't it? Oh, hang on. Is it all right now?
There's something in the background somewhere.
Yeah.
But Oregon Gooner Jez for director.
Was it okay before?
Yeah, I don't know where it's come from. People are saying there's an echo.
Yeah.
There's like another speaker somewhere.
Oh.
Where that is. Anyway, we'll move on. Kyle Trossard, a player I wanted. I've been watching this player for some time, man. What's your opinion? He came on, he did something. He had 20 minutes, I think it was 15, 20 minutes, and he looked decent to me. What's your view, mate?
Absolutely delighted that we signed Trossard. I've been calling out for Trossard for the last couple of years, guys. I think the man is a top quality footballer. He's a proven Premier League player as well. He's a direct player. And to come on for Arsenal Football Club in a massive game like that with 20 minutes to go, he really impressed me, Chase. He was direct. He came on. He ran at players. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't shy. He wanted the ball. He wanted to win. The mentality was right from the very, very beginning. This is what I'm impressed with. He was involved in the winning goal, Chase. What else do you want from a man? He's an exception. To me, he's an exceptional player. I'm delighted that he's at the club. And personally speaking, this is just me. This is just my opinion. I think he's a better footballer than Martinelli. That's my honest opinion. And if it came down to it, between the two of them, now listen, it's brilliant to have the two players that we have there, guys. Well, for me, I'm picking Trossard. Martinelli is a top quality player, don't get me wrong. But I think he's tired. I think he needs to be rested. And who better to bring on only than Trossard? So, absolutely delighted with it. Buzzing for it, guys. Buzzing for it.
I totally agree with that. I've been saying for a little while, and I think Kenny, Kenny and I and Lee on our shows, we've been saying he does look a little bit burnt. So we have this now player that can come on, fulfill that position. And a great comment here. Love this comment from Danny 011. Teams now know they can't come to the Emirates for an easy game. Come on, you Gunners. And that's what we love. This is going back in history, isn't it? Kenny, Kyle, Luke, we all remember the days when Highbury was a fortress. Teams hated coming there. Now, I can't honestly say I've been that expense, that hundreds of times the Emirates, because I haven't. But I don't. I personally haven't seen the Emirates as being a fortress. Now it looks like it's turning the corner, but Kenny, you're a regular every week when we're playing at the Emirates. Do you see the atmosphere changing now?
Oh, I'm 100%. I think what's happened is that I think last season, we thought the atmosphere changed because of the fact that the team's playing well, but a lot of it changed because I think what it was is that we had something taken away from us by the government and the government on behalf of the pandemic. So we missed football. And last season, what we noticed is that the people did turn up. Were so glad to be there that they try to get the atmosphere in. But one thing you noticed is that there were a lot of people still feeling the after effects of the pandemic. They weren't turning up. They weren't renewing their season tickets. Some of them got themselves, because of the government's decision, a lot of people got furloughed out of their jobs. Some people had to lose their jobs because of the pandemic. So quite a few people who are not regulars there weren't turning up. Obviously, people got ill as well. People lost their lives. And so when we try to create an atmosphere, which I felt was a lot to do with not how the team was playing, but just missing it. Something's been taken away from us. So let's see if we can create the atmosphere. And to be honest, there were a few games where the atmosphere was really good. North London derby was a great atmosphere. Last season, and May night was a great atmosphere last season. But other games, it was kind of the feel that we normally got in the Emirates. This season is a total different kettle of fish. From the first league game of the season, Leicester City, up until the current last game against Man United, the atmosphere's just been kicking. It's been absolutely fantastic. And that, to be honest, there has been some upheaval in this game. Let's not forget we went down a goal down to Fulham. And the crowd got us back into it. North London derby was emotional. Liverpool was a great game of football. So, and we played some beautiful stuff. We beat Nottingham Forest. So, the atmosphere now is perfect now, because I think there's a lot of fans who are so scared to say we're going to win the league. They're so scared to even contemplate it. They're going down one game at a time, but they just can't wait to get there. People actually turn up on time for matches.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're even up early because I just can't wait for the game. You need to go in the concourse, where people are singing their hearts out, not just for big games, but just singing their hearts out songs. And the Arteta song is going like wildfire at the football club, and also songs like Saka and Smith Rowe. Two negatives. One is that North London Forever song. That song banished, because, as you know, me and you are from North London. We know that it's got nothing to do with North London whatsoever. It's about his North London, and it's not an Arsenal song. But the most important thing is, I think it's time we change the Saka and Smith Rowe song and give Saka his own song, and give Smith Rowe their own song, because I think Saka's worked his nuts off, scores a great goal, and then we're singing about him and Smith Rowe when Smith Rowe is not on a pitch or not contribute towards it. So I think we need to be a bit more creative and give Saka his own song.
When it comes to the atmosphere, Jace, I'm looking really forward. Me and Del Boy are going to the Everton game, what has been rescheduled because the Queen died that time. And I'm really looking forward to experience the atmosphere, Jace, because Highbury, my memories of Highbury was brilliant. But the atmosphere in the Emirates Stadium, the games I've gone to in the Emirates Stadium have not been good, Jace. Have not been good. There was games I went to that have been just dead, like a funeral home. So this season, I can't wait to go and experience this atmosphere. It's exceptional. It's brilliant to see. The fans are on board. The players are on board. There's a connection. As a fan here in Ireland, I feel there's a connection between us and the club, and we're all together on this journey, and it's brilliant.
I agree with you. I mean, I think I need to get more attuned to the Emirates. I haven't been there as many times as Kenny. The times I've been there, I've never really found it comfortable. Maybe I need to change that attitude. But anyway, we'll move on from that. Luke, what's your opinion? I mean, do you get to the Emirates very often?
No, I've not been there many times at all. Can you hear me all right, Jez?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Yeah. No, I've only been there a handful of times, really. I used to go to Highbury a lot, but I've not been there much for a few reasons. But
I think
I'd like to go. Don't get me wrong.
I think the difference between Highbury and the Emirates, Highbury is a very, very tight-knit ground. You were very close to the pitch. The atmosphere to me was, I mean, I grew up with it, so I'm biased, heavily biased. But okay, it is what it is. But we at the end of the day, we've brought in, in my belief, I think we've brought in a very, very good footballer, which is going to be influential on our team. And I totally agree with the comments that it's going to be a difficult time, I think, for Martinelli. But Martinelli, in my book, needs a rest. So that's all good. I'm all up for competition in the squad. When you've got a regular 11, 12 players, that isn't a good rotation. You need to have the ability to move it about. And I think the fact that we brought in this player is a major situation in my book. That's my opinion. People will disagree. That's fine. But we're going to move on. Cedric Suarez looks like he's going on loan to Fulham. Kyle, I'll come to you on this one first, mate. Looks like he's going on loan. Are you seeing that as a good thing, or is it a bad thing?
I think it's good on both sides, Jace. I think it's good for Arsenal because we're cutting the wage. I think the agreement is that Arsenal's going to pay half his wages, which is 75,000, and Fulham will pay another 75,000. So I think it's good because obviously 75,000 off the wage bill for Arsenal, and also we're getting rid of a player that has no future at the club. And I think it's good for Cedric because he's going to Fulham, which are doing very well in the Premier League at the moment. I know I had that hiccup there last Monday night there against Spurs. But I think it's a good move overall for both sides of the party, guys. And I wish the man fair play at home. And I wish that he have a good future there, a good career there at Fulham. He was never an Arsenal player in my eyes. He was never good enough. He was never at the standards I want players at my club. He was never going to win us the Premier League or succeed like that. So fair play at home, move on, and hopefully it's a done deal then come the summer. That it's made a permanent deal in the summer and he's gone. And that's it. Yeah, big up to him.
Yeah, I think that's the correct thing. Kenny, Cedric Suarez linked with a loan. Do you think it's a good move?
I think it's a great move for the player, and I think it's a great move for the club because simple reason, as you said, financially, business-wise, we don't have to. We clear out, his wages, and Fulham can pay the rest. Most importantly, and I say it's not disrespectful to the guy because he's been a good servant for us, but Cedric Suarez represents the Arsenal, the Arsenal who wanted to get in the top four, wanted to get back in the Europa League. The Arsenal that we're trying to get to at the moment, and the Arsenal we need for the future doesn't include players of the calibre of Cedric Suarez. We need to be in a sort of higher market for those kind of players. And, to the extent that he's not, we don't even need his type of player at the squad because I think we've gone the team's moved on to a better level since Cedric Suarez last played on a regular basis for us. You know what I mean? And I think that's why you have to move players on. I would put some people put El Neni in that category. Respect that. I think I'll still have him, but I do get where they're coming from. And you put Rob Holding in that category, but the level of play you want, if we assume, let's not count our chickens that that we're going to be in a title race and we're going to play in the Champions League, then as Cole says, Cedric Suarez isn't the Champions League player. He's not the kind of player that we want in our books. So you have to, say thank you very much and get rid. And the same it goes for poor old Ainsley Maitland-Niles. He isn't the caliber of player we need moving forward. So players like that, you wish them all the best, but it's imperative you do get for a business point of view, you do get their wages off the wage bill, because if you are trying to sign players that we need in order to take us to that next level that we demand, all of us have demanded, then you have to have money to buy those players.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm going to come to you now, Luke, and then we're going to chat with Nino here. Luke, Cedric Suarez, do you think it's a wise move to loan him out to Fulham?
Yeah, I don't really think we need him anymore, to be honest. I mean, what is he, a right back? Or he plays a right back, doesn't he?
Yeah, he plays sort of, he's played centre as well, but
yeah.
I personally don't think he's up to the score. Give us your opinion, mate.
Yeah, I think we've got enough cover in that position, so not need too many numbers there. And yeah, I don't think he's quite good enough anyway, by the looks of it. What I've seen.
I agree with you on that one. Good comment here, Nino 1983. Even all big fan of the channel. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Do you believe the rumours Rice has made Arsenal his preferred destination? Well, that's an interesting one. Declan Rice. Kyle, what's your view on that one, my friend?
Don't believe the rumours, says. That's what I feel. Says we're linked to lots of players. There's lots of things being spoken about both these players. Here's another example that Declan Rice is after making Arsenal his #1 club. How do people know this? Like, people have to cop on, have to wake up. Until I see the player with the Arsenal jersey in his hand after signing a 3 or 5 year contract, then I believe about this Declan Rice. Declan Rice, to me, his best friend, he's best friends with Mount from Chelsea. You know the way Chelsea is spending money. And I wouldn't be surprised if Declan Rice goes to Chelsea ahead of Arsenal. So I don't believe that Arsenal is #1 target. I think that all these players, guys, will go to the club that gives them the bigger money. It's all to do with that. There's no, like you say, players kissing the badges and all. That's all a lot of crap. It's all about the big contract, the big wages, and where they're going to get the most money. I think Declan Rice will end up at Chelsea, more likely end up at Chelsea before Arsenal. That's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong.
No, well, mate, we're on the same team there. Kenny, what's your view with this Declan Rice story?
Well, I'm complete agreement with yourself and Carl, because I couldn't picture Declan Rice in an Arsenal shirt, and I don't believe for 1 minute that's his preferred destination. As Carl says, he's best mates with Mason Mount. They are joint in the hip, because I've seen them at boxing events together. And let's be honest, he's a Chelsea fan. Although that doesn't mean he actually want to go there. And he was a Chelsea, I don't mean to go there. But I've only ever heard noises about him coming to Chelsea. I know his mate is working to get into the football club, and to the extent that Man United were also making overtures as well, allegedly. But it was always given, the impression was always given that Chelsea was the preferred destination. I don't know what's changed. I know that if we're talking about Mason Mount, we know Mason Mount still hasn't been offered a new contract. He's going to, at the end of the season, he's going to have a year left in his contract. There don't seem to be any contractual talks between Mason Mount and Chelsea Football Club, to the extent that they're linking Mason Mount now with Liverpool, or maybe getting him abroad. So I don't know whether that would be a factor or not. But if he wants to go and play with his friends, then he might not. He go and play Chelsea, but his friend might not be there. So that's a factor. I don't know. But in terms of Arsenal being linked to the player, we definitely need that kind of player. We need because simple reason is that everyone thinks that Thomas Partey is a defensive midfielder. I think Thomas Partey's got more in his locker than that. I think that Thomas Partey's footballing ability means that he, like I said, his predecessor in terms of midfield greatness, Kante. I think Thomas Partey can easily play in those variety of positions. He's got his fitnesses right now. His acceleration's in his game. I think the DM, position's too easy for him. I think if you were to get him in further up the field and to be like complete midfielder, 100%, Thomas Partey would be able to do that, and you can still play him alongside Declan. And then you could always say, I don't know, Jack is playing well, but you can always say, you know what? Can you imagine a midfield three of Odegaard, Rice, and Partey? Sounds good, doesn't it? But it may not happen.
Yeah.
Kenny Kane, I just have one question for you.
Go on, mate. Go on.
Yeah.
Oh, he shot
What's
himself.
happened?
I don't know. Luke.
He's promoted himself.
Yeah. Luke, what's your view on this rumour of Declan Rice has made Arsenal his preferred destination? I think it's bullshit. Just saying. What's your view on it, my friend?
Well, I think he's too good for West Ham, really, isn't he? But
yeah,
I don't know. I suppose you want to go to a bigger club, yeah. But I kind of agree with what Kyle was saying about the money and stuff. I think a lot of players are attracted to money these days, it seems. But if we're,
yeah,
we're potentially winning the league, and
I think the thing is that we get these rumours, and most of them turn out to be bullshit when they're ever linked to Arsenal. So I go down the road now until I see that player in an Arsenal shirt at a photo shoot. I don't believe any of it personally. A great comment here, Brenny K74. The game was already won in the Ivory Tunnel years ago. Yeah, it was. That was a very, very small tunnel, and players were rubbing shoulder, and a lot of things were sorted out before they even got on the pitch. That's how it was back then. And Static says that Kenny Saka needs his own song. It's way overdue now. Yeah, well, that's down to the Arsenal faithful, man. Arsenal Maniac says, apparently Declan Rice has his eyes set on Arsenal and has said he will join the club in the summer. Rumour. It's funny, isn't it? When you're flying high, everyone wants to be part of the journey. Yeah, and a lot of it's all to do with agents and rumours. Rennie K.
To be honest, he's got a point though. He's got a point though, because I've got to cut you. Because do you remember back in the day in the 80s when before obviously Liverpool were dominating not just all over Merseyside, but they're dominating English football, and then Everton had a bit of success, and players didn't want to go to Everton under Harry Kendall, you know what I mean? So Gary Lineker wanted to leave Leicester to go to Everton. He went there. Paul Bracewell wanted to leave Stoke to go to Everton, and they were attracting quite a lot of players who want to go to the club. So I think success, does attract players. But I think nowadays it's a full package, because I think what's happening is that Chelsea's still a very, very attractive club for a lot of players, because I know Arsenal fans have had arguments about who's the bigger club in London. Well, we all know it's Arsenal here, but younger players in this country and younger players from abroad don't. When you hear younger players calling Chelsea and Man City European powerhouses, you know that Arsenal's got a lot of work to do to be attractive to players. I.e., it's not just reputation. We've got to win big trophies on the pitch in order to prove we're bigger than Chelsea and Man City.
Interesting point. Now, this is an interesting point. Arsenal Maniac, we had to move away from Highbury. Couldn't be a global giant with just 38,000 commissional space to expand the stadium. Had to move. Well, that's a very interesting comment, mate, because Arsenal in the late 80s, 90s wanted to expand the stadium, but Islington Council prohibited the fact that Arsenal wanted to buy up Highbury Hill and buy up Avenel Road, and it was refused. So also they wanted to buy up part of Gillespie Road to actually expand the stadium, but it was refused, hence why it was deemed that Arsenal had to move. Do you remember when Arsenal expanded the North Bank back in 95? Am I right in saying that, Kenny?
No, it's back 93.
Yeah, 93. And they actually want to expand. They actually did expand the North Bank, but they couldn't expand it east and west. So I guess that's when the times were made that we had to move out and we had to go to Ashburton Grove. It is what it is. Interesting. Pete says, you're talking to another Pete Hayward, a fake account. I want no involvement with any arguments anymore. Okay. Delbert Guy, good to see you, mate. Big up, Jez and the Pal. Just finished training the next generation footballers. Good luck to you, mate. Hope you're bringing on another Liam Brady. Anyway, I want to ask this question. We've got this new Jakub Kiwa, 22-year-old. We bought him for 20 mil. Anybody got an opinion? I know nothing about him.
Have you seen his wife? Have you seen his partner?
Yes. And apparently Lee got slated for looking at her pictures. And I did.
No way.
I did. I had a look. Lee got slated on his channel for the fact that he was, apparently Lee's married, which we know he's not. And he got slated for looking at this woman. And I put in the chat, but I'm married. I'm 61, and I look for them. Is that a problem? I don't think so. Why wouldn't you? So let's talk about this fella, Jakub Kiwa. I'm probably abusing his name. Kenny, I'll come to you, the fountain of knowledge of football. Are you happy? I mean, what do you see about this guy?
Well, we definitely need to fight. He played for Poland in the World Cup. I did remember him vaguely because one of the things that I do remember about the World Cup was obviously Poland's lineup and thinking, Jesus Christ, this team is just there to make up the numbers. I didn't notice them a bit, but clearly, Arteta's been watching a lot of him. But in terms of like international quality, we do need someone in to the extent that after, if anything happened to Saliba and anything happened to Gabriel, you're taking out Ben White back, putting him back into defence. Now that's not really a bad move because you can always put in Tommy Ashley in that position. But the thing is that Ben White is actually masquerading and doing a very good job of masquerading as a right back. So really and truly, if you want to keep Ben White right back, you only got Rob Holding. So Rob Holding, we all know what Rob Holding's there for. If we go a goal up and there's about 5 minutes to go and teams are basically throwing the kitchen sink at us and playing long balls, Rob Holding's perfect for that. But if anything happens, to one of our defenders. You want someone of great quality, and this guy isn't international. He has got that kind of fighting qualities. He's young as well, so I think that's what the fans like a lot. So not the fans, but the club like a lot is that it's youth as well. But again, you want someone who's of better quality than what we have on the bench, and I think that's why the club have brought the lad in, because of the fact that it's a step up. Because you never know with football, you never know what sort of injuries our centre half's going to get. So I am happy with it. I won't lie, it wasn't a position I was looking at all. But again, if you really do not want to take Benjamin White out of that right back spot that he's got at the moment, then you're probably going to have to look at getting an orthodox centre half in, and this guy is an orthodox centre half. I was actually remember a bit of him at the World Cup, and I remember I wasn't like perturbed by him. I didn't really notice him that much, so Poland didn't do that badly. You know what I mean? The only time, because the other day you really couldn't do anything against Argentina and France, because I think the old team were just, mesmerised and then basically got bullied by both those sides. But it's a good addition. I'm pleased with it from a tactical point of view that we've actually got a proper centre half in.
Mate, I'm with you on that. I mean, I've never seen the guy play. I didn't see him play in the World Cup, so I've got no comment to make. I'll go on with what I've been led to believe, what I've read. Luke, are you happy with this signing of this fella from Spezia? I mean, I've got no comment to make.
Yeah, I'm similar to you, really, Jez. I don't know much about him. I'd prefer to bring someone in who's a bit more experienced. Been there, done it. It's another youth player, isn't it? I don't know, but I don't know much about him. So
fair play, man. Fair comment, Kyle. What's your view?
Jez, like Kenny Kane, I was very surprised about this signing. Now I know that Arteta's a fan of the left side of centre backs, and he's had to get this fella in. We don't know much about him. None of us have seen him play. I certainly don't have any recollection of seeing him playing football. But it's like what Kenny was saying. You have to leave Ben White out right back. He's not a centre back, guys. So just keep him out there in the right back. He's done well. Ben White has actually done well this season out there. And you have Tommy Asu there as well. Keep him right back as well. For me, Jace, personally speaking, I'd be looking for someone better than Tommy Asu, but that's just me. But he's coming in there with Saliba and Gabriel, and now we have this new fella. Not even going to try to pronounce his name. We have Rob Holding. Rob Holding, to me, not good enough for Arsenal Football Club. He's a championship player at best. So I'm happy enough in one way, Jace, that we're after getting this addition to the squad. We can't stay at the chap and say, oh, he's useless, he's this, he's that. We have to give him a chance. So it's up to him, Jace. He's at the club. He's had to sign the contract. So it's up to him to come in, put his stamp on the team, competition, and prove us all that he is a top quality player for Arsenal Football Club. And I'd be over the moon if he does that. Fair play to him. I wish him all the best.
Okay, I'm just inviting on a guy that knows this player. So bear with me very quickly. Steve, I'm sending you the link now.
We should be able to pronounce him, shouldn't he, Jess?
Yep. And fair play. Steve's put a super chat in. Steve, thank you for that, my friend. I've just sent you the link, mate. I know a bit about Jakub Kiwa. If you want to send me the link, or Insta link, man. So come and join us and have a quick chat. We've got 15 minutes left. Robert Lewandowski was bigged him up quite a bit. Well, there you go. We can't. If it's too late, it's okay, though, just mate. No, I've sent you the link, man. Come and join. And Kenny and I will be on with Northside London at 7:30, I think it is, Kenny.
He says, I'm sure it's 7.
It might be 7. I don't know. I might be wrong. I've got the link anyway.
Sorry, Jason. I was trying to ask Kenny had a question there about Declan Rice, and I got a phone call. That's what cut me off. Just a quick question. That's all. Kenny Hayne, am I right in saying that Declan Rice is a London boy?
Oh yeah, he's London through and through. But you know, his dad's side is from Cork. His dad's side are from County Cork, and that's why he initially played his early football for the Republic, and up until like non-competitive, full internationals. But you know, obviously England's passage into the World Cup in '98 clearly his head got turned. But yeah, he's from like he's from Kingston, which is on the border of Richmond. So that covers like West London and South West London, and that's a Chelsea stronghold. Obviously,
because if he was a London boy, I was just thinking, would he actually move up to Manchester if he got a good deal at Chelsea, staying in London with Chelsea?
I don't know. Dave Beckham's from London. He moved up there.
That's right.
It's all about the career, isn't it? You know, footballers nowadays, most of them, even though they play for clubs outside London, they're always in London all the time anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got Steve on. Steve, how you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm all right, guys. I'm all right. Thanks for having me on. What's going on?
We need to know about the man that you know about.
Jakub Kiwior. Yes.
Yeah, I know you. I mean, fair play. I'll give this guy the utmost respect. He watches all of European football, and that's no bullshit. I've seen. He sent me exclusive photographic evidence of his monitors. He watches all of Europe. So this is one guy I will actually believe who watches these leagues. So Steve, take it away, man.
Yeah, so Jakub Kiwior, 6'2", 22 years old, Polish international. He's, like I said in the chat, he's been a little bit inconsistent for Spezia because they sometimes switch between a back 3 and 4 in play. Sometimes he struggles to kind of, recognize when to, I need to play out from here, or I need to stop, look up. So decision making is a little bit inconsistent, but there's a lot of raw, natural talent for me. And also, like I said in the chat, one of his better games was against Napoli this year, where they only lost 1-0. They held out extremely well. They played a back 3. It was Ethan Ampadu, Kiwior, and another lad. I forget his name at the moment, but he had a really good game then. Bodied up on Osimhen and looked pretty comfortable. So for me, he's got a lot of talent. Just he's a bit inconsistent right now, but with the way Arteta has been, he's done all right. To be fair, prove some of the doubters like me as a neutral and some other people in terms of just how capable of a manager he is. I think he'll get the best out of him, but it's not going to be, for me, it's not a Saliba situation where he's ready to slot in right away. I would say get him involved in the cup matches. Bring him on for last 20 minutes of games, say, I don't know, at home to Bournemouth if you're winning 4-0, 3-0, something like that. But he will need a little bit of time to adjust. But I'm a fan. I'm a fan in general of the kid. Polish football is not in its greatest state. It's very outdated, and the people running it are stuck in the 80s where where goalkeepers played a much more crucial role. That's why most of our best players, Wojciech Szczęsny was our best player at the World Cup, our goalkeeper, right? So that, but technical ability wise, he's pretty naturally talented in my opinion. I like Jakub a lot. I think he'll be a good player for you. It might just take some time. Maybe I could see him being a regular rotation option in a year's time, about something like that. So still 22. But yeah, that's what I got to say about him.
Fair play, mate. Thanks, Steve, for that. I mean,
Yeah, no problem.
I truly, guys, I do value this guy's opinions because he's not a bullshitter. He actually does watch the European leagues, and I only respect people that actually can actually talk about European football. I don't. I know nothing about European football, but I know Steve does because he comments all the time in the group chat. So before we round this up, we have coming in Friday night. We're away at Man City, fourth round of the FA Cup. I'll come to you, Luke, as our new guest on this one. Do you think? Well, no, two questions, man. Two questions. Do you think we should go in with a first team string? And do you honestly think we'll come away with a result?
I don't think we should go too strong, but play a few of the big names, yeah. I don't know which other way he wants to mix it up, but it's the FA Cup, isn't it? It's still quite a big game.
Big game to me.
But we've also got them in the league coming up, haven't we?
Not for another week after, though.
So I think that would be the priority. Yeah. Okay, then, yeah, I suppose we should play sort of most of our strong players, I think. Get some confidence for the league game as well, you know.
Do you think Arsenal will win?
I think we might just scrape it, yeah. Might just scrape a win, I think.
I put a poll
because we're playing with a lot of confidence at the moment.
I agree with you. I mean, I put a poll out on Wednesday on my channel, and at this point in time, it's gone down from 63% Arsenal. It's now 17% draw, and it's pretty damn close at the moment. Kenny, I'll come to you on this, mate. Away to Man City. We haven't done well there for a very long time. It's the fourth round of the FA Cup. You and I both love the FA Cup. We grew up with it. We adorned it. We've talked so long about the great days of cup games, cup finals we've been to, the whole day, the whole setup. How are you going to see it, mate? Do you think Arsenal should go out, wham bang, and go for it? And do you think we'll win?
I think psychologically, Arsenal are going to have to go strong, because simple reason is that if you're going to, because if we're going to win the league, we need to learn how to go to teams that we normally do perform really badly against, and actually show we mean business. Now, obviously, people say the league's probably more important, but psychologically, we have to assume, going by the points, that it's a title shootout between ourselves and City. So we need to let City know and probably put plant the seed of doubt into them when they come to the Emirates. And normally when we play them in April as well. So I would go strong because even though people say, well, it's only in the cup, you won't get anything much out of it, but I think you will get something out of it. I think you will get some, psychological kind of like edge if Arsenal win the game. I'll play a strong team, but obviously I'll play Matt Turner in goal because I think he deserves it. He deserves to play because the reason is that he hasn't done anything wrong and he's played a lot better for his country and for the club when he's got his chance. And, he comes for crosses. So I'm definitely going to play him. I'll play left back. Kieran Tierney's going to play, so Zinchenko can have a rest. And, you can play Tommy Asu at right back and then keep Saliba and and Partey. And then you can play the same, the free midfield. unfortunately, I was going to say play Albert, but Albert's got no confidence, and Albert just isn't good enough. At his side, we give him enough chances. Even against Oxford, he struggled. And then the front three, you could play Trossard, Saka, and Eddie. You've got to play Eddie anyway because Eddie's the only striker we have. So that's a pretty strong side, really. And then, I think Man City will go strong. Obviously, they're going to play. They're not going to play Ederson in goal. They're going to play the number 2. But I think, they're going to go Walker left back. They're probably going to play Cancelo there, and then what will happen is they got a wealth of centre halves. So they can either play Diaz, or if they want, they could play like I said, Stones instead. So they got whoever they play is going to be strong at left back. Midfield picks itself for Man City, so they're going to go strong. And I think Haaland will play because I think psychologically, because Pep Guardiola's been having a go at the players for taking a foot off the gas and thinking that they just have to win a title. I think psychologically he's going to want to give us a hiding this Friday. So if they're going strong, we should go strong. No messing around.
That's a great point. Psychologically, I 100% agreed with you, Kenny.
I mean, Arsenal are synonymous with the FA Cup. I'm being selfish because I grew up with the FA Cup. Love it. Love every part of it. Kyle, how are you seeing it, man? Are you seeing it? We go strong, or do we look it's the FA Cup 4th round. We're in the Premier League. We're top of the league. We haven't got a massive squad. So where do you see us going?
Jace, I'm like yourself and Kenny Kane. I grew up with the FA Cup. The FA Cup is massive to me. And I was on one of the shows there recently, and I was asked the question, and my answer was, I love Arsenal to fight out, obviously, for the Premier League. I would sacrifice the Europa League ahead of the FA Cup. I would like Arsenal to try to win the double, the domestic double ahead of the Europa League. We're going to get that Champions League spot anyway, one way or the other this season. So I will play a strong team, Jays, against Man City Friday night. The only problem I have is the midfield. From reports I've heard, and Nenny is after getting injured. Now, if we play a party, and Party gets injured, what are we relying on? Longongo, or whatever his name is. Sandy, as I call him.
Yeah.
So this is the problem. This is the only problem I have Friday night. I would play a strong team, but I would not risk Party. So you might have to play Sandy. And that's levels down. So that's where I stand now, Jace, at the moment. I want us to play a strong team, fight it out with Man City, and try to win the double. You cannot beat the FA Cup. The FA Cup is so special. It's such a great competition. And for me, lots of clubs throughout the years have devalued the FA Cup. And it's a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. Because the FA Cup is so special,
I agree with your sentiment. It is the oldest football trophy in world football. Steve, I want to come to you quickly, round it up, because I want to ask this question to Kenny. How do you see it? I mean, obviously, you love the FA Cup. I'm sure you do. How do you see Arsenal going into this on Friday night?
Yeah, no. Quickly about the FA Cup. Whenever I talk to people, I would say 45, 40 and above, they've got completely different sentiment towards the FA Cup than the younger generation. And that's simply just because the FA Cup doesn't qualify you to, UEFA Champions League. That's the only reason people don't rate it. If people, the younger generation, like my generation and stuff, who don't actually know the significance of history and just want to look at the here and now and all that stuff. No. That's not how this works. FA Cup, as an American, when I first started getting into the sport, I'm like, I need to educate myself about English football, all these different leagues, because I got to know what I'm talking about. I want to know. I'm curious. And the FA Cup for me is just brilliant. It's brilliant, the fact that you can have a literal pub team against any big boy that you want. I mean, Newcastle, we're famous for the Hereford upset. in the 70s. Yeah, exactly. Everyone remembers it. Everyone of your generation and whatnot remembers watching that game. So the FA, I'm a huge fan of it. Huge fan. But in terms of what Arsenal should do, I agree 100% with Kenny. You can't get destroyed by these guys on Friday because that could be a psychological thing, right? Even if it's the backups. Because guess what? You're still going to have first teamers out there that get embarrassed by Man City. You don't want that to happen. And plus, you want to win this. That's what big bad Arsenal did back in the day, right? Challenged on all fronts. I know you had a completely different squad, different quality of players. Yeah, you completely get that. But the ambition should still be the same, whatnot. I know Newcastle couldn't have won Premier League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, but I do want to. I want to at least give it a go, you know. And we played our weaker team against Sheffield Wednesday, and we got beat. Simple as. So, I don't think you guys can afford to do it to Man City because their weaker team. The problem is they can field a weaker team because their squad is just fantastic. You can't even tell sometimes that it's their weaker team because their squad depth is like for like in so many positions of real high quality. So now for me, I'm just looking forward to a good football match, right? That's what I'm ultimately. And also, Arteta did win an FA Cup, so he clearly values it. You know, he managed to actually beat Manchester City with a really poor Arsenal team that's completely unrecognizable. The whole squad is unrecognizable now to what it is nowadays. So he's done it before, albeit some different circumstances as a kind of intern. But no, he wasn't an interim at any point, right? He was appointed.
It was actually he beat Chelsea in the FA Cup final.
Yeah, in the final, because Pulisic scored early and then got injured, I believe, right? Yeah, I remember that.
Anyway, I want to ask Kenny this question.
Yeah.
Kenny, you've been to numerous cup finals. I've been to
too many.
Hey?
I've been to too many, mate. Too many. I've had some good and bad days.
Can you nail? I've got my one already.
It'll be the same as yours. It'd be the same. My favourite cup final. It was a cup final that I was too young to go. It was 1979. For the simple reason is that is the whole reason why I say it. To be honest, if you watch the game back, you'll probably find that it was so comfortable for us that the only excitement actually came in the last 5 minutes. And I suppose, in hindsight, but it's folklore, isn't it? Man United worked their nuts off to get back into the game, scored 2 goals, Gordon McQueen and Sammy McElroy, and then we go straight down the end and just break their hearts, leave them with virtually no time to get a second equaliser. So that is the greatest game because the simple reason is that it's the atmosphere back in North London, in Islington, and it still talks about today by old Arsenal fans, old or young. Even young fans who weren't around, who weren't born during that time, they know about the 1979 FA Cup final just as much as they know about the double winning side and winning at Spurs in May 71. That is part of your Arsenal history. That there's certain games that stand out. 79 FA Cup final, Copenhagen 94, Anfield 89, West. Like Walter Lane 71. Those games are a part of Arsenal folklore. Every Arsenal fan should read up on all those games.
Well, for me personally, I was at the game. For me, my greatest FA Cup final was 1971. Because it was the first time I ever went to a cup final, FA Cup final, and it was the year we won the double for the first time ever. Only the second team in modern day football to win a double after Tottenham in 61. And I just remember that. I can tell you every second about that game. It was enthralling to me as a little 10-year-old, 11-year-old kid being a cup final, an FA Cup final. And I was brought up with that with my granddad. It was like it was drilled into my head all the time. My granddad always like talked about the great teams and the FA Cup, the FA Cup, the FA Cup. So to actually be there in my little yellow and blue shirt on the day that Arsenal beat Liverpool. And you've got to remember, this is a great Liverpool team.
Dominant, yeah.
And this team was like relentless, you know, and they were coming into their era of where they were going to go and sweep everybody else aside. So that to me,
Shankly era.
Sorry,
is that Shankly era Liverpool? Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. I was just wondering.
Yeah, Shankly, yeah. And I agree with Kenny. The 79 Cup final, I was at that one, and that was iconic. But the memories stick with me more than the 79 was the 71.
Jay, sorry, Jays. Well, you're finished. Sorry, Jays. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Go on.
Over here, for me, Jays, over here in Ireland, I'm supporting Arsenal since '87. So the 79, I had a videotape back in the day, and I watched the videotape of the 79 final, which was great. But for me, my standout, I was only at one cup final, not the FA Cup. I was at the Cardiff Cup final in Cardiff, Millennium Stadium against Chelsea. John Terry swallowed his tongue that day. Walcott scored for Arsenal. We got baked throughout it. But the FA Cup for me, the standout FA Cup for me, was sitting at home now, me sitting and watching it, was the 93 FA Cup final when we won the domestic cup, the two cups. That was unbelievable. I'll never forget the two cup final against Sheffield Wednesday. Both cup finals was against Sheffield Wednesday. It was brilliant. That'd be my favourite FA Cup final.
Fair play. I mean, we're all gonna have different memories, experiences, and that's what makes it great as fans. Is the fact that we can sit back sometimes and think, yeah, I remember that day. I remember that, and that was it was special. But I'm going to wrap it up, guys, because Kenny and I have got to go and join Northside London. So come over, watch us on Northside, give Northside big love, give them some subs. But before we go, Luke, thank you, man. First time on the channel. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Nice to do a pod with you, mate.
And I know you're a little bit nervous, but mate, you'll be fine. And you're welcome anytime. Do you have any links or Instagrams or any of that sort of social media you want to share?
Just really Instagram, Jez. That's about it. Don't use much else.
Fair play, man. Fair play.
Yeah.
Luke James on Insta, isn't it? It's just Luke James, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Right, everybody go and follow Luke.
Yeah, that's right.
Mate, enjoyed having you on tonight. And it's not always nice to get new people on, get different opinions.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure. Kenny Ken, always.
Really enjoyed it. Thanks.
Kenny Ken, the legend that is.
Thanks for having me on, mate.
Kenny, shout your show out, mate. Shout out on Insta.
It's just me on Instagram. It's at Kenny Ken 1972. There's like some big matches. Obviously, the FA Cup. We've got Man United against Nottingham Forest. Repeated the 1992 League Cup final when Brian Clough played his last game at Wembley before he retired the year afterwards. So that's going to be a bit of a game. Jesse Lingard played with Nottingham Forest against his old side. So Man United are behind the time. So that'd be interesting. And Marcus Rashford can't stop scoring. So we'll get watching that after I do my show with Northside.
Yeah. Kyle Walsh TV. Mate, legend that is out in Ireland. Mate, shout yourself out. And everybody go and support and subscribe to Kyle's channel. He does some great content, talks the facts, doesn't take any idiots. He says it as it is, and that's what we love.
Yeah, just Kyle Walsh Gunner, you'll see me on YouTube channel. and it's Walsh Kai 2010 on Instagram. And I have a few surprise videos coming up, Jez, this week. I've been working hard on them. I done one there today, and also I'm going to post it up there later on. And you're all in for a little treat, let me tell you, this week. But, Jez, I'd like to say big up to yourself for having me on your channel. It's always a pleasure to talk to a legend like yourself. Luke, fair play to you, mate. Big up to you. It's not easy coming on camera showing your face. Fair play to you. Steve, great listening to your knowledge about European football. Love listening to it, man. Fair play to you. Kenny Kane, always a pleasure to share a show with a legend like yourself, man. And I hope that someday I'll meet you at a game with myself and Del Boy, and we'll have a pint in the chat.
Well, I've met Del Boy a few times.
Thanks to
Starting to meet you now.
Absolutely, and thanks to everyone in the chat. And let's roll on to Friday night, and let's get the victory and bring the FA Cup home.
Absolutely, mate. Steve, thanks for coming on, bro. You always speak the facts. I mean, there's absolutely no bull with this guy. I mean, he seriously does watch European football, and his knowledge is. I believe what he says because he watches it, he talks about it, he knows what he's saying, and I actually take all his facts and I believe it. So there's a lot of people out there that they talk about, I've been watching this player for years, and they talking absolute bullshit. This guy doesn't. Steve, shout yourself out, mate. I've got a lot of respect for you, a lot of time for you. You've got your own channel, and you get on Tony Claude Gooner's TV, and you know, mate, you're always welcome here.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. I'll be doing, so I'm on my channel, Strasbourg Steve. I got to watch along, and however long I'm doing a Copa del Rey watch along, Barcelona versus Real Sociedad. Huge game. Real Sociedad have won 9 games in a row in all competitions, so this isn't no walkover game. So I'm pretty excited to watch that as a neutral. I'll also be, checking out Freiburg versus Frankfurt in the top 4 battle in the Bundesliga. A few other games on, but I got you're right, Jez. I try to watch as much football as one human can possibly take in. It's just so fascinating, It's just completely different from American sport in a lot of ways. It's just awesome, man. Thanks for providing me the platform to share my ever so
you're welcome, man.
Infinite knowledge, whatever. But thank you a lot. I appreciate it.
No, actually, I respect you, the fact that you actually sit there. You don't bullshit. I've actually seen video footage you've shown to me of you actually watching all the games, and
I do watch-alongs on my channel too, of all these games. So if nobody believes me, there's 2 hours.
It's pure fact, man. I love it. Right, I'm going to end it here, guys.
Yeah,
I'm going to do the outro, and we'll all chat again soon. Take care. Peace to everyone.
I'm relieved to hear that you've been to some far places. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I had seen such riches, I could live